So you're saying, hey, Nick, would you convince us you are not a complete maniac nut job that we ought to say, hey, sure. Hey, like I said, yeah, I got me a real good night's sleep. I'm feeling real optimistic. Hey, and I understand, given all that stuff there on that paperwork there, so you're like, hey, buddy, you best keep right here. Don't go up here too much. Hey, let's keep it right there, son. Especially if you're trying to, you want to mess with our ladies and you want to go half the kingdom on us. Hey, look, you got to keep it right there for a while, son. We want to see some more of this here. Nice cruising altitude, boy. Yeah, You're like, so what are you gonna do today? And I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to explain that to Katie because I'm thinking if I'm the neighbor lady and I'm living there all by myself, and I got this guy over here, and they starting to say some of this stuff here. I'm thinking, they got lots of places to live around here, right? And they're like, well, and there ain't too many normal people left. Even guys like me, right? And you're like, well, he a little weird, but he don't drink, smoke or chew or go with the women that do. So I mean, he on the right track. Maybe Amarillo Slim's like, hey, wait a minute, boys. Maybe we don't have to get rid. Maybe we don't have to fire this one. Maybe we can reorganize this guy. Get him. We gotta move some assets around here, and he'll be all right. You know what I mean? So you're like, yeah, so that was what was. That's why we almost called in the SWAT team again. Yeah, you gotta make some more of these videos, man. Tell us what's cracking, right? So you say, hey, it's early. Well, what are you gonna do? So no, I had my egg over easy. Okay, some rice. I like my rice. Oh, mama there on Third Lake. And the A-frame. Remember that? Yeah. Little library systems. Right down. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, what do you do? What are you gonna do today, old Nicky boy? And you're like, I'm gonna do what I always do. So I had an over easy egg on a little bit of rice with a little milk. And normally I'm a little low on fruit smoothies. And so you want to be careful. If you start getting, you got to have fruit. You know what NFL, nature's first law, he's from Ohio, went to Ohio. He like that. He real smooth guy, he one of them where all the gals, remember that? And he used to be on Power Talk all the time in the great debate. You know what I mean? When he get to talking, all the gals all of a sudden show up and they're like, let's listen to this guy. He liked the foosball. He was like 1986 foosball champion of the world. Yeah, that guy. Don't drink too much, I guess. Huh? Kind of probably sending a few rockets to the moon here and there. Yeah, he'll get to talking to you and he'll tell you, look, here's all you need to know, Nick. I know a lot of stuff and I'm a CIA analyst. So I know how smart. This is all you need to know from me. Look, you can live off of. You don't. There's a few things you got to have. You got to have some protein. You got to have some fat. You can live without the carbohydrate or something. I can't remember. I gotta look it up. But anyways, I like my rice. That's what I remember from the NFL. He don't come around too much. See, we used to have a lot of cool guys like on Power Talk, right? Guys that you'd be like otherwise have normal lives and they come around and chat once in a while when they get off work. Yeah, we ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing no more of them. You got some nutcase lettered agents like Jeremy and Cal and Katie and Billy Bob Soda Pop and Kenny the Trucker. I mean, they probably, I don't know, they must know somebody that know. Like, if one of those guys ain't, if Secret Doctrine, if he ain't hiding in plain sight as the Secret Service, he knows some people that do. I guarantee it, right? Because he don't like me. And remember them guys that were threatening me nonstop, telling me how ugly and stupid and slow? Yeah, remember them guys? Yeah. All it is them guys and like a few Christians arguing about, taking a magic carpet ride or a 5 point, tulip or a J Dub. And I'm like, you ain't got no more NFLs around here? Hey, I'm cool. I'm out of here. And you ain't paying me to do this, and you're giving me a headache now, and I ain't getting any closer to half the kingdom. I see y'all later. Hey, hey, the ducks are coming. No, I had enough of that. You know what I mean? I'm out of there. So NFL would say that. I gotta look it up. Which one is it? I can never remember, but I always remember him saying that. He's like, you'd be surprised. Like, there's something in our body you have to have, and fruit is one of them. You cannot live. So if you start getting low, you like your fruit, start to ration it till you get some more, boys. Remember how you used to do with your marijuana? Yeah, you want, because if you run out of that, you want to talk low blood sugar, honey. What, hey, look, girl, what are you doing up here at 10 a.m. on a Monday out in the middle of the woods with a bunch of Sasquatches? And all we got there is you have the kingdom, and shit. You got some guy here supposed to be buying a house from you, and all I got's my daddy. And we got half the kingdom there, but she behind the counter. She got to stay back there. She ain't gonna help us out there. And you're like, hey, maybe you might want to ask me for a couple of your business cards. And you're like, yeah, but I'm kind of nervous because my grandma's. We got a gentleman's agreement, and I don't want any more no contact orders. You sure you can't? Your girl said that the future is female, right? And you started that feminist movement and burned your bras, and now you got cell phones and keys to cars and all. Can't you ask me for my number? Like, hey, come on, I don't want to go to jail here, girl. What you doing? I mean, this guy's real nice looking. You could be lying to me, right? I mean, how do I know that? I mean, hey, after you get the swap team a couple times, you're like, maybe I better not talk. I don't care if she running around. She got salad and she's a naked lady. I mean, you better triple check this one, son, because remember old Samson boy? Yeah, NFL. So which one is it? I'm gonna say it's the carbohydrate because it makes you real fat. But you gotta have fat, you gotta have protein, and you gotta have fruit. I think you can live without that carb, which makes sense because if you eat too much of it. But I like my rice. So I had some rice, and normally I like my bagel. Look, see, a warm bagel out of the toaster with real butter. I know y'all on your organic and all that health break. You're like, well, you should put something more healthy on there. I'm like, I'm 44 years old and I ain't got half the kingdom, and you worried about me putting a little butter on my bagel? No. See, there's just a few. You're gonna start to learn, kids. There's a few things in life that, like old Auntie Avis said to me a while, but she said, "You getting up there, boy? You might want to find half the kingdom." We're sorry that Daddy wasn't around to say, "Hey, you see that snack bar up there?" But you're gonna get to a point where you just don't care, and sometimes you're gonna be like, "I don't care if it kills me. I want some real butter on a cinnamon hot bagel." Because there is no substitute for a good woman and a good dog. Yeah, like that's one of them right there. But I'm running low, you see. And that guy upstairs, see, okay, no, we don't cook meals together. But he's about 90 years old. So if you got a problem with me making him an over easy egg and bringing him up a bagel with some butter on it, hey, talk to the hands. No, we don't buy food together. We don't cook together. And I only had a few dollars in that safe. You understand me? My daddy never seen what was in there. I had some other stuff and some paperwork, mostly, like my birth certificate, and I might have had a few. I might have had a little ammunition in there, go with my butter knife and my bow and arrow, and I had a few dollars. I don't know why these banditos are so curious about what's in there, but I'm thinking it's time to go again, Daddy. Especially with that crazy woman you got there trying to blow me up. Hey, I seen what's it called, huh? Yeah, I mean, like, I pretty much, Ray Donovan and Like that's we kind of do the same. Remember what I say wherever you go there, yeah. I mean, we kind of do that. We was doing that back when me and old Bubba was rolling over to the north side with Crease and all them. Yeah, yeah. Huh. You remember that? Yeah, we had a few. What you call it? You remember them CDs you like to lay out? Oh, in the trail you're about to blow me up in. Yeah, that. All of a sudden your amnesia get. Oh, your memories coming back, old daddy, huh? Help it. Oh, I can help you. Usually when that's what we like to do around here too, boy. We like to take the old we got a whole box of case of them. Every once in a while we figure, hey boys, this is a Ray Donovan Goodfellas, give me one of them CDs. We gotta go for a ride, boys. Settle up. Hey, regulators, and we're like, hey, we like to go lay them around once in a while too for guys to see. And there ain't no DVD player. Look, if you see Ray Donovan and the Goodfellas little CD laying around, and there ain't and you don't know where it came from, and there ain't no DVD player anywhere, you might want to start wondering why there's a cut like this here in your concrete about that thick there, and the pest guy's running out like somebody's chasing with a chainsaw, and every time you go outside, you got a polar bear staring at you, down the street Sasquatch, and they all want to go, hey, what about that guy? Why take a ride into don't go to Putt Putt. Go into town and get on that flatbed there with that guy wearing the UFC shirt, staring at you, following you around town. You freaking half a weirdo. What's up? I'm going to the Downs, dog. You already know. What's up? Yeah, we do that here too, Daddy. So you say, hey, relax, son. Yeah, you try to relax after all that. Because guess what? They ain't they ain't like testing my psychology to say, hey, is this boy fit for the CIA or something? Let's see, can he handle this? This ain't no training. I don't know what it is, but it's weird, and it's way weirder than me. Huh? You said, well, what you gonna do? Coffee. Yeah, remember how I told you I was an original? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I might not have been like in the inner circle, but like I said, remember how I said I knew the guys that knew the guys? Yeah, I knew a couple of them. Yeah, they probably had a box of them CDs we like to lay around every just to like, hey, you need a little help with your amnesia? Hey boys, go get me one of them Goodfellas CD. I'll take care of this. Hmm? Oh yeah, all of a sudden your memory getting better, ain't it, Daddy? I tell you what, I still got a seat for you right here in this kitchen, Daddy. I tell you what, I'll pay for your ticket too, round trip. You call me, hey, call me, say I want to go. Hey, you ain't got, I'll pay for it. Oh, I ain't hanging out with that crazy lady. Yeah, I'll hang out with you though. And maybe you can help me out and figure out what the hell's going on here, huh? You know what I mean? Apparently, old Gordy, even though I'm his firstborn, I'm thinking if anybody know about electrical tape, anybody that, hey, maybe that king in Anoka, maybe he can figure out what's going on outside my house on that gas meter, with all these, I got 5 guys here. No, we ain't talking about lunch sandwiches. We're talking five guys and not in XL uniforms. I mean, they look like guys just carrying hammers to me. I ain't never seen you before. Remember? It's 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, and you got 5 guys here for 3 hours, and all you did was take a little chisel and put a little goo in my concrete and it wrap a pipe with about 15. Yeah, I seen a few of them electrical tape. Remember my granddaddy? He's the king of Anoka. Yeah, worked up at Cornelius for 50 years. Oh, yeah, and my daddy went out to California and made it. You remember that? Oh, your memory's getting a little better now, huh? Yeah, yeah. Ha, ha. Yeah, like that. We going to the downs, boy. Yeah, I'm an original. Hmm? Daddy, come on. I got a spot. I'm going to set you up a desk right here. Hey, you said, well, what are you going to do today, camper? I'm going to give hey, like I said, until you give me a reason, hey, I know, hey, you're the first one this pretty here with a guy that looked pretty good looking, and it's already a little strange. It's about 10. Hey, look, I know we're a team here. You didn't have to tell me all that. That you don't have to make it like, hey, maybe you want to ask me for your number, because I know normally you're the gal that want to talk to Kurt Anderson. I mean, hey, like I said, did you forget your glasses in the car, honey? I ain't Kurt or Bull. I'm just one of they sidekicks. Okay, are you sure you're talking to the right guy? Hey, man, you got him standing there. But thanks for coming, though. I appreciate you here because I don't. Hey, I'm half redneck and all that, but I'm part city slicker too. See, multicultural. So I like company in the woods. You know what I mean? I like friends when I'm in the woods, especially around a whole bunch of guns and all this stuff here happening. And you wondering why I'm happy to see you, honey? Oh yeah, I don't care if you want. I don't care what you do. I don't care who he is. I'm just glad to see you. Hey, thank you. But if you're serious, hey, meet me up in the produce section at Walmart or maybe at most gals don't like to because the laundromat's dirty, but every every once in a while you find one. Hey, you know what I mean? So you're like, well, what you gonna do today, boy? And I'm like, do the same thing I do every day. Read the Bible, huh? So we start the morning off. We had our egg. I'm a little low on fruit, so and so I'll read the again because what I'm thinking, say you remember I said, old camper boy, there's always a mission to my madness, right? And I'm thinking, like I said, if I get old, have the kingdom on the hook a little bit there, and she let me set that thing, and I got it kind of on there, and I'm trying to get it in real deep so she can't get away. I'm thinking we probably ain't gonna be reading that there KJV too much. Just guessing. Now, I did have a Concada in here, and that old cutting the concrete, and all them polar bears and all that. So I kind of developed kind of a sixth sense, you know what I mean? And so I'm saying she probably gonna be more into something like this here. And so you might want to start trying to read that a little bit and get used to something like that. Cause yeah, I mean, when it comes down to that, oh, the old half the kingdom. I mean, hey, it ain't gonna take you long to figure that one out. So we're gonna read out of this one here this morning. So what we do is we read. Remember, I read a part. I got the the Bible study goes to from Bible Gateway to my email to remind me every morning, and then in case in the event we don't, I can get within 6 feet of a gal again, and I'm out in public, and the polar bears leave me alone, and I don't have my Bible, hey, and it's a good reminder. You're like, well, no, I'm supposed to be reading it, and so when I can, though, I want to read out of a, see, that's the other thing, kids. You can't appreciate it. You grew up going to bing, bada, bing, bing, bing all the time. We used to, like that one paper stand or that one little thing you might see up at Big Apple Bagels because that guy was born in 1980 or something. Yeah, and he's like, hey, yeah, sure. And there's like one place left that'll print paper. Yeah, that stuff used to be everywhere before you had those things called computers. And some of us, so I really appreciate a book, especially my grandma, the grandma Lois. Yeah, grandma, look. You want to talk about a nun or Mother Teresa? Yeah, my grandma. And so I'm like, hey, can I have like a paper? I'm like, I'll pay you like extra. And they're like, we don't care. We get, you remember all them guys in the EPA that are taking over the country? They said we can't have paper, and I'm like, yeah, but I grew up with that, and I like the ink on my fingers once in a while, And I'm like, they're like, well, we still got some books down at the library. You might want to try there. And I'm like, well, they chased me out of there too. And I'm thinking, well, we got that curbside pickup Nick yet, and I'm like, yeah, but it just ain't the same. And I'm like, do you say you don't got a newspaper or something I can get to touching a little bit here this morning? Nope, we all out. And I'm like, oh, well, I still got this Bible here. I guess it's better than nothing. And I'm like, at least I got my finger on here, some little paper. And so you're like, okay, coffee. What's the matter, honey? What's that look for? What's the matter, sweetie? Honey, what's the matter, baby? You just tired, sweetheart? Yeah, if you keep looking like that, Daddy ain't gonna give you a medicine, honey. There we go. You gonna get that tail going for me? Yes. Come on, girls. I like when my girls look sad. Oh, girls. Yeah. Okay. Is it time to eat already? I started looking at that. Yeah. Oh, it's time to eat already. Oh, it's 9 o'clock already. So you're like, well, okay, that's nice. Yeah. So You're like, okay, read the Bible. So we're this morning we're gonna be in what? What is this? So you're like, normally I almost I'm gonna be honest, but the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want people to. Well, there's something about people calling you a kike make you a little nervous, and then we got all this other stuff going on, and you're like, maybe I ought to read that New Testament a little bit more so for people are seeing here. Maybe if any, I mean, I'm not sure what's gonna help at this point other than that king of Anoka and half the kingdom. Maybe a couple of her friends or something, maybe their moms. I ain't sure what we're gonna do. But if anything gonna get us going in that direction, it's gonna be this here. Yeah, probably. So I'm like, normally I like to be quiet in the morning. I really do. It's you know what I mean, like, cause it ain't gonna be too long. There's gonna be all kind of hustle in the bustle. Trust me, it's going pretty quick, right? Y'all know. And so I enjoy that term, that quiet in the morning. Hey, hey, there's no noise. We just woke up. Can at least 10, 15 minutes. Drink that coffee, right? Start praying to God. Pray without ceasing. Remember that? Yeah. And I'm like. You're like, no, I don't want to bing. I don't. First thing I do, I don't want to be looking at no phone. I want to be looking over and saying, oh, half the kingdom, honey, are you up yet, baby? Hey, Karen, honey, good morning, sweetie pie. That's what I'm like, forget that TV. I don't want no noise. I'm thinking, when I wake up, I'm thinking, it's quiet. How long you think you can go before you hear some noise? Yeah. Ha, ha. Won't be too long. You'll hear the truck outside or something, one of the neighbors doing, I got my phone on mute and I'm like, I ain't in no duck blind or nothing, but I'm like, hey, let's be quiet. Hey, oh, half the kingdom. We don't want to wake her up. Let her wake up on her phone. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, let's get the Bible, kids. Hey, girls, let's get the Bible. Hey, daddy will whisper because if we wake up, oh, half the kingdom before she wake up on her own. We don't want to do that. So I'm like, hey, let's be quiet. Tell everybody else. Start making a whole bunch of noise. And besides, it ain't even 10 a.m. yet. It's still quiet time, girls. It's no. So I'm like, so I normally though I enjoy that time. I don't know about y'all. Like nowadays culture. I mean, these kids can't even get off the phone. Like they sleep with it. I understand why they send them to therapy. I mean, after they got a couple generations of us parents seeing these kids here on these phones, we're like, hey, they're like, forget the pot. Let them smoke. What are we gonna do about this here electronics? We can't. They're like glue. Maybe we ought to just put this in them so they don't have to, you know. Maybe we ought to put this in their right head or forehead, and that way they don't even have to carry it around anymore. Maybe that ain't a bad idea. And then we're gonna get out an old red heifer at the second. Oh snap! We going to the Downs, boy. Well, I don't know where you going, but I'm going to Gasoline Alley at the Downs, and I'm like 5 years old. Yeah, ha ha. And then I'm going swimming too, and there's all these pretty girls and they're and they're all like my sister's friends. Remember that? Ha ha, yeah. And I'm like, you're like, dude, you said you're gonna be quiet, and I'm like, coffee. It's okay. I don't mind. I'm really good at helping people remember. You get a little amnesia or what do they call it, Alzheimer's or little memory. Hey, just bring the old camper come around with a couple of them Ray Donovan CDs. I'll have you fixed up real fast. Well, you'll be remembering shit real quick. Okay? Look, remember, hey, hey, but you're like, it's not 10 o'clock, Timber. Settle down. Settle down, buddy, Remember how we got you by the short hairs? I know we kind of screwed that up, but if you really forced us, I mean, we could still do that. Look, so you got one of these here, right? And you're like, well, oh, let's read the Bible, buddy. You keep, okay, yeah. So I'm like, that's what I'm not thinking. Hey, and can you imagine if you take this away from anybody under about 30, you're gonna have to put them on like Depakote. They're not gonna know what to do. And I'm like, hey, can we throw that in the garbage and go into the wood shop, half the kingdom, honey? How about you sit there in that chair right there and watch daddy work on the wood while you like, you know them little stick things they used to, you girls get, I'm gonna go down there and get you some yarn or whatever. Here's a book that, like, hey, this is here. Yeah, we ain't gotta go to town, honey. This'll keep you busy for the next 50 years. You sit there and we'll say hi to each other once in a while. I just want to be close to you because you're my wife. Yeah, oh, now we're going to get us a few little babies. Oh, yeah, now we're those. If you ever took this away, you think, you think you're going to go to war. Yeah. So I really appreciate that time in the morning where it's still quiet and I'm like, no, I don't want to go for that phone. I don't care. That email can wait. I'm like, I just had a good night's sleep. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. I woke up. It's probably gonna be a little quiet for maybe an hour, and then it's gonna be the bing bing da bing bing again. And I'm like, and I still ain't got half the kingdom. Like, I don't even want to look at that computer. Don't make me go get a couple of them, Goodfellas CDs. Like, I'm just a nice guy, Hey. And like, leave my concrete alone and go find somebody else to go putt with, man. No, I don't like flatbed. The other job I had, I do like flatbeds when we're hauling around big old backhoes, laying fiber optic cable at the law school, or the University of Minnesota. Oh yeah, I had that job for about 5 days. No, that was more like, hmm. The problem was that was kind of like football for me. Remember that? Yeah, it's cool. You hanging out with old Rush Boy and old Jad. Yeah, and you can kick that ball like nobody's business but every once in a while they get to hitting you and you fall on that ground there and take you a little while to get up because you only weigh 100 pounds soaking wet and you got a couple of Barry Bergones trying to pick on you and you're like, yeah, I don't think I like this sport. I did this here a couple of years. I think I'm gonna go back to that golf there, chase that little ball around. Yeah, remember that? And you're like, what? Yeah, I did that job, but I wasn't big enough yet. And they got this big, humongous thing. It's about as tall as me. And the other guy I worked with, he looked like Barry Begon, and he throwing that jackhammer around like it's a little piece of, he's like, here, take this. Oh, by the way, this is a funny one. So I'm about 100 pounds soaking wet, and he gives me this jackhammer about 200 pounds. And he's like, hey, tear up that concrete there. I'm like, this is fun. I used to like hanging out in the sandbox with the old. I'm riding around in the truck. I'm like, finally, I get to do the real sand. The digging the dirt, and we're laying, and and I'm like, I like flatbeds a little bit. This is pretty cool. They help. I get to, these things are kind of hard to drive. I'm like, they're big and I can't. They got a lot of buttons in them, but I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, this is really cool though. They let me put the chains and I'm almost strong enough to turn them things at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I'm up there in Anoka, the king of Anoka. He's like, hey, buddy. Oh, by the way, when you're done with that, because I'm going to take you up to the Pine Point Lumber, son. That was another one. Pine Point Lumber. When I was living, remember that king of Anoka? Yeah. Nah, he ain't the king, but he probably know the king. I mean, he's only been golfing at uh, what is that place? Oh wait, Oh, Greenhaven. You mean that golf course has been there for 250? Yeah, that one. Oh, you golfed up? Oh yeah, like my dad and they like owned that place for a while. Yeah, them guys. And so you're like, well, after that, we're gonna take you up to Pine. That was kind of fun, you know. It's almost like you was back in what was that shop class where you make this stuff? I wasn't real good at it because I didn't have the patience. You know, you zap. I really liked that stuff, but I just couldn't sit still long enough, and then I'd miss one, and then I'd screw it up, and I'd throw it in the garbage, and I got frustrated. But I liked it. I liked drafting class too, but I just didn't. I couldn't focus enough. Remember my dad? Remember all the drones sending rockets to the moon and crap? Yeah, I don't know where he got that from. I ain't sure he's related to us, but he better get it that. And so, unless I don't know, maybe he copied them from somewhere. Because I'm like, man, I can barely draw a stick figure. I can golf all right. But I didn't have old Gordy to sit there and hold my hand for 15 years. Otherwise, I probably would have gave them little guys there. If old daddy been like, hey, you know, it wasn't until I was about 40 and old Gordy finally come around and say, hey, son, you know you got a bum knee, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we figured that out over at Bunnell's after I started speaking in tongues and went to church with them. And oh, yeah, remember that? And yeah, I figured that out when I was about 16 and I knew my life was over and I was never playing sports again. Yeah, thanks for telling me now, Grandpa. And I'm like, you know, if I'd had my dad around, he's like, hey, look, son, we're dollies. We ain't bad looking, but there's about 50,000 of us, so ain't nothing special. And by the way, they got that there, but they got plenty of guys delivering beer. So you got to find something else to do. Yeah, and green, it's all right. It's pretty cool. It's nice up here in Anoka, but they got them things all around the world. And so, yeah, around here it's all right. But I'm heading out to Cali. You'll be all right. But hey, I might stop back and go, hey, boy, hey, well, you got that bum knee there. You might not want to play 50,000 sports, son. Remember, see that snack bar there, boy? Yeah. You're like, Daddy. You're like, look, I know you're a little hyper. You can't sit still. You won't shut up. But listen to me. Hey, watch that knee, son, and be careful. And if you can, I know you can't. You're scared to talk to girls and all that, but you're going to end up with restraining orders. But hey, what you might want to do, boy, is if you can. I know it's going to be tough. Is focus on a couple, two, three sports. Ones that are less resistant on that knee. Now I know you like hanging out with old Rush Boy because you know he's like the coolest guy on the planet. Remember that? And you're like, hey, hey, Gad, Gimp, you're like, yeah, well, these guys they talk to me and they're like, hey, that's our friend over there. You know, we ain't hanging out a lot, but that's one of my guys. If you touch him, there's going to be about 500 mother mofos here in about 10 minutes and you're going to be having a bad day. So don't touch him. Yeah. That was after Barry. Right? And so I'm saying, hey, thank you guys. What do you want me to do? Let's get in the car. We're going to the north side, boy. Keep your mouth shut. And hey, we got a box of them old Ray Donovans. If we need one of them, we'll call it. We'll holler at you. Hey. And I'm like, all right. Shh. Quiet. No, I'm going fishing with Hector Kingdom. And so you're like, Daddy's like, you might want to focus on just golf. We're pretty good. Okay. We're not Langer. Okay. You're not going to play 12 years in the NHL, son. But if you really settle down, remember that snack bar? Look at me, look at me. I'm out in Cal. I'm trying to help you here, boy. I can't. Your mama chased. Look, I tried the best I could. Remember that? I was young too. I had lots of girls wanting. Shmoo, they all want to sleep in my bed too. And they're like, okay. And if I could have been stayed your daddy, your papa done a little better. But I came to visit you to try to help you because I love you. You're not my firstborn, but I still love you. And you're like, okay, daddy. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this all out on my own. Here, give me a few pointers. And he's like, all right, so you're probably not going to be a professional. You're not going to be Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods, but if you can settle down and you be careful about how much of that beer, you can go out and have yours a one or two with the gals, but try to be careful with that. I know it's tough to tell kids that, but look, I know because your mama chased me off for it, and now she won't get back with me. I still got to live my life, and they're making it real hard. So I'm gonna be out that way, but so if you ever need me, I'll be out there. And he's like, but I came back to visit, and here would be my suggestion. This ain't a snack bar, but what I'm thinking is, well, we're okay at golf, and I'll try to help you. Remember that I'm like a teaching pro out there, and I'm pretty good myself. I'm thinking I don't have the time to spend with you with like Gordy there because your mama won't let me near you, right? See, but if you practice, yeah, and she'll let you come see me for about 5 minutes every summer. I'll try to help you. And then maybe you want to do like swimming or pick up an instrument. Them real nerdy girls you like with the braces and the they can't around. They like the other guys too. They got them. You might want to try to, and we know you're kind of stupid. You might want to try to like just or something real simple, son, just to get close to them. It ain't no snack bar, buddy, but we're getting in. Hey, you know what I mean? And let's focus on this golf here, boy. I know you want to go run around, but in 2 years you're gonna be like, why are they hitting me like this? Like, I don't want to get hit anymore. I like you, old Rush boy, but I'm out of here. I see you down the road, man, and you're like, later. At least you're wearing a gopher. Yeah, and Daddy's like, okay. All right. So, and if you get real antsy, boy, on the off season, that's in the winter. Instead of that old hockey there, because that's probably gonna mess your knee up a little bit. I know you really want to play for like the next. You ain't Langer, man. You're wasting your time, boy. Hey, you want to go out and drink some beer on Friday night, boot hockey with the boys, and knock a couple guys over? Do that. Don't be. Look, they got these things they call indoor simulators and all that. You might want to look into that and keep your golf game going so it's hot in the summer. And if you get real good, if you get all right, hey, forget about that hockey there, boy. There'll be some snack bar girls. Yeah. So you're like, okay, Daddy. Like, I want to do that before I mess my knee up and my life's over, and all I want to do is outdrink everybody in beer. Yeah, hot, hot, yeah. And you're like, okay, Daddy. So, and you're like, well, you're old now, son. Doesn't matter. We don't care what. Yeah, well, I came before y'all, remember? I'm your elder. Okay, and as long as I don't drink, smoke, or chew, or go with people that do. Yeah, I mean, we got the devil out there, but you only got so much of an argument. I don't care how much of a half a weirdo you is. As long as I keep my nose in here, you only got so much against me. So you're like, okay, well, let me finish that story real quick, and then, yeah, remember the, yeah, it didn't take long to realize, hey, this is taking a lot of work. And they're paying all right, but I mean, I don't know how much of this here I can handle, right? And then after he comes over and he's like, He's like, hey, by the way, we're at the University of Minnesota. You know that place, that premier destination around the world for research? And oh, but yeah, this is the law school. Yeah, and we're like, you got to like kind of, it's a little different than work, being out in the ditch there with, oh, what's his name? Oh, Billy Bob, Soda Pop, and all them. Yeah, don't pick your nose and be cool. And like, hey, they got this. Here's what we're doing here, Nick. Uh, yeah, I get look. You don't know. You haven't figured out what all them buttons on that big old machine over there that can like, you know. So you ain't ready for that. So but basically, I mean, you're digging ditches, boy. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, this shovel here is to take you here. Take this jackhammer. But look, here's what's going on. We got like 500 square yards. And look, we're dealing with a lot of money here and a lot of people's time, and they got a lot of stuff going on up in that office there. And we can't, they got to keep working here, but we got to be down here during the day. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, so be really careful with this here. We got this thing, it's called a fiber optic. It's about the size of a hair on your head. And you see that pipe that got wrapped around, that pipe bomb that looked like that pipe that wrapped around there with a little PVC? Yeah, basically all it is it's wrapped in PVC. And we got this concrete, and so they got a whole bunch of money, and like they're bored. We need something to do, and they feel like moving this, okay? Because they want to build something, they want to add to like an addition or something here. They're gonna it doesn't matter, boy. You don't know what's going on all them machines. So here's this jackhammer that you can barely handle. Okay, you're like really cool. And I want to, I'll hang out. It's a nice place. You're like, yeah. And you're like 18. There might be a couple snack girls if you're real careful. And I'm like, okay. And you're like, so he's like, but hey, look, pay attention now. This is the real important part. He's like, remember that little wire about the size of a hair of your head? If you hit that thing, remember all it is. There's like a little. There's a little plastic wrapped around it, and then there's a whole bunch of hard concrete that is like, Okay, so you're gonna take this right, and you're gonna get as close to that so we can move it without cracking that PVC. It's called the plumbers. Like if you hit that, that's what you're going into, plumbing. Because if you hit that, it's going to cost over $1 million. And everybody's going to be pissed off because they all got to go home and they ain't got no more internet for like a while. And you ain't never talking to me again. And there's going to be no snack girls. Yes, sir. And he's like, okay, so I want you to get as close to that there. Okay, but you got to get close enough because this is time, value, money. I'm paying you. They're paying us. Okay, remember that thing, money? If you want if you want a real snack girl, you're gonna have to. I don't care how many of theirs, you're gonna need some of that. All right. It don't really. There's a few cute ones out there, and if you're not gonna be a professional golfer like your daddy, huh? Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some limitations, but there are still some cute ones if you're willing to work. And how you remember your grandma Lois? You're kind of a nice guy, and if you don't hit this wire here, we'll probably pay you enough. You might be able to get you a decent one, okay? But do not hit this wire because you're going home. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but you got to get close enough so we can't be here all day, boy. We got work to do. So I know you kind of spoiled. Give me a chance here, son. You don't want to be a plumber or a painter, do you? No, I smelled enough paint, sir. I watched enough paint dry. I want this job really bad, but I don't remember the foot. He's like, don't get near that plastic, but get as close as you can without getting near that plastic. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm like riding on top of this thing. It's like, well, I'm back in the golf carts, except I can't even hold this thing. I'm like, I'm in the wrong business again. We better head on up to Pine Point with Grandpa Gordy or something. Oh, yeah. That's some of the last memories old Grandma had. She started losing it back then. We'd ride, oh Grandpa, give me a ride, oh Grandma Lois, and I'd go up there and play with cardboard and wood and staples, and you felt like you was back in wood class, I'm like, you're like, well, yeah, this is fun for about 5 minutes. Can I go do something else now? And so I got pretty close. I don't know when I don't think I ever hit the wire. I got real close a couple times, I think. And they finally took that jackhammer from me and said, yeah, you just, you're not, I don't think this job's for you. And I'm like, you're right, I know. So that was that. hmm I had a lot of jobs. Remember that? Oh yeah, and then so then they did I don't know, I might have hit the wire. I got pretty close because yeah, I cracked it. I don't think I did. I think once I cracked that plastic, there's like, yeah, you got to go out in the ditch with the tube guy. We tried. So they sent me out there for it was the tube guy. Remember his license plate? This was back before all your cool guys. Before you had your license, this was 20. Yeah, he was the tool guy. Pretty cool guy. Had a nice, thick, hairy man beard. He was pretty nice to me. He's like, yeah, you can hang out with me for a little bit. And he's got the old witch ditch, and we out just me and him. You don't need a whole lot. We laying fiber out in Timbuktu. I don't see any polar bears or any pup, but we all right. And I'm thinking, yeah, I can do this for 5 minutes. And so we did that. And I got bored with that real quick, right? So I'm like, I know you're the tool guy, but there ain't no naked ladies around here with salad. I'm out of here. And we out in the middle of nowhere. I had enough of this. Let's read the Bible. Coffee. You see, there's just something. If you're like a full-blooded polar bear or Sasquatch, it's you're into different things. Now, like if you're a guy and you got to understand, because most people are like, now wait a minute, you want to go out on some grass with some sticks that are about this long and about this thick, and they got this little thing on the end about that, like that, and you want to give them about $300, and it's going to take you about 4 hours. And they got this little white ball that you can barely see because if you use the colored ones, they're gonna they're gonna start calling you Pinky. So you're like, yeah, I can barely see that thing, and you're like, and I need glasses already anyway, and you're like, and you're gonna like try to hit it with that little thing on the end of that stick, and you're gonna hit it and see how far it go, and then you're gonna try to find it. Yeah, remember that? You can barely see it. And it's got to stay in this area about this wide. And then eventually we're going to give it this other little thing about this long. And you're going to go like real soft. And you're going to look at that grass and try to put it inside of a hole like this. And these Sasquatch and polar bear, they got their shotguns and they're all in the duck line going, hey, quiet. We ain't got no naked ladies with salad bar, but be quiet. Them ducks might be here in a few hours. Don't say nothing, boys. Shh. And you're trying to figure out why would they do that? And you're like, well, usually there's about 4 of them. Remember that? And there's like a whole bunch of other groups with 4 of them. And they're all like really, really super duper cool. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, we going to the downs, boy. You already know. And you're like, we didn't think of that. I mean, we pretty cool down here, and then, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So there's just some different things we all into, polar bears and Sasquatch. They don't appreciate golf. It's just something got to run in your blood. You know what I mean? So again, Daddy, he wasn't a professional. He was a teaching. He was pretty good. You know what I mean? If he would have been a little more careful, Barry wouldn't have come along and done the old crack on his knee because he's jealous. Because everybody's like, Marky, can we love you? Will you take us down to your bed? And you wonder why it wasn't all his fault. Oh, mama got mad, but hey, you got 15 old snack burger, like, hey, it's tough to make a decision sometimes. And then you're like, you get a couple beers going and you got the boys and you're playing golf and you got a bunch of naked ladies with salad running around and old mama's at home and she's two-fisted drinking coffee and got the nicotine going and all she want to do is talk to the doctors and figure out who need to be on some medication. And my daddy's like, and okay, he made a mistake or two. Yeah, we're all human. And you're like, can we sweep in the bed with you, old Bobby? Yeah! Ha, ha! You remember that? Yeah. Don't make me get a Ray Donovan CD. Okay. I'm just saying. Look. So you just can't appreciate, like a polar bear, that. So I guess the bottom, you just don't mess with their women. That's what Daddy's saying. Son, I know I'm sorry I tried to be there, but your mama, look, I should have told you, you don't mess with polar bear and Sasquatch's women. You're not a polar, you got that one uncle, he's like mostly polar bear, but we ain't polar bears. Leave that women alone. We got a few snack bar ladies, hey, and you're like, cause you know them things they call SWAT team, task force. Remember internal affairs, and then they got a whole bunch of polar bears and Sasquatches, and then all of a sudden they start cutting your concrete, and you don't know how the hell they got in there. And we got things called sinkholes. You know that thing where all of a sudden the freaking ground, there's like a hole like this big, just spontaneously combust, and we have no idea how it got there, but all of a sudden there was that guy that likes golf and all that. We don't know where he went. There's that hole there in the ground and all that concrete and contagious everywhere. And polar bears they don't even play golf, but they want to go play putt in Timbuktu. Hey, and then you go, oh yeah, come on, get on here. Hey, I'll give you a ride. You need a ride? Hey, you need a ride on this here flatbed with you, don't you? Yeah, you probably want to go for a ride. Hey, let's put your truck up there on that pole. Hey, go for a ride with me, pal. I'll take care of you. No problem. Get in this. What's happening here? So you're like, read the Bible, man. You don't live without it. You're like, I don't live without what? You don't live without the Word of God, or you don't live without half the kingdom, or the king of Anoka, your daddy, or your mommy, or Tommy, or who? I mean, what's going on here? Whole lot of weird stuff going. I mean, you're gonna need a few ropes here, buddy. Y'all ain't turning. Hey, let's read the Bible, man. Come on. No, I mean, Yeah. Let's start fresh here. I'm just we don't want to make too long of videos.